Hey, everybody, it's Matt. This is Fantasy Football Almost Daily. A couple of quick things. Last Friday, we debuted our new Fantasy Friday game preview show. CP, Christian Peterson, Kent Wyrock, and I previewed all of week 12's games, and we had 9 players on whom you could roll the dice, and they tried to solve my 2 tough nuts to crack. We sincerely thank all of you who tuned in and listened. The positive feedback was overwhelming, and we love our listeners, and we look forward to bringing you the best possible show for the rest of the season. With that, I'll note the schedule for this week. On Tuesday, Christian Peterson will be back joining me. We're going to do a mini version of Fantasy Friday where we preview the 3 Thanksgiving games along with the Black Friday game. On Thursday, the DFS podcast with Trevor Jones will come out a little bit early in the day, maybe even Wednesday night, so you can plan your Week 13 Sunday slate while you drive Thanksgiving or cook the bird. And on Friday, the Fantasy Friday show will be back with the remaining 12 games on the Week 13 schedule. Kent Wyrock and Trevor Jones will be back to help me preview all those games. And remember, giving us a 5-star rating and review, that just helps us out immensely. If you like our shows, we'd just really appreciate it if you tap your phone a couple of times and leave us a rating and review. It helps us out a ton. Fish and I are about to give you the waiver wire guys that you really want to pick up this week. But first, the intro music.
From the Sports Hub Games Network, this is Fantasy Football Almost Daily with your host, Matt Harrison.
It's the first ever Monday show of a Waiver Wire Tuesday that we've done on this. And with me, as always, is Scott Fish. Hello, Scotty.
What's going on, my friend?
Oh, man. Well, it sounds like you got a cold.
I do.
Let's hope you get better and you're ready to go for Thanksgiving. But what do you and your family do as Thanksgiving traditions this week?
We just go to my wife's parents, the mother and father-in-law there, and eat food and watch football, and then we come home. That's really all it is to it. Have lots of Snicker salad, as you know, any respectable Thanksgiving has. So,
dude, I love the Snickers salad. And for those of you who don't know, it's like Snickers, Cool Whip, and green apples, right?
Yep, Granny Smith green apples in chunks. Cool Whip. Sometimes, some people get fancy and they throw in some vanilla pudding.
Ooh.
But then it's also, cut up Snickers chunks. Yeah.
I that's the most Minnesota thing ever to call that a salad.
I'm confused why that's not a salad. I mean, it feels like a perfect salad. Oh, and then depending on where you're at, you can drizzle some caramel sauce on it. That's like the ranch dressing for a normal salad. Just some caramel sauce.
So good. This year at my house, we made all of the adults bring any food they want to add to the pile of food we're making here. But it's just got to be a food you're thankful for. So we left it open-ended. If you want to bring pancakes, you can bring pancakes. If you want to bring buffalo wings, go for it. But we were just trying to leave it open-ended. And we included the adult children as well. So one of them so far is bringing rolls. Great.
That's arguably my favorite thing at Thanksgiving dinner is the dinner rolls. So you seem upset about that. I'm like, heck
I just wanted the kids to come up with a little bit more interesting stuff.
Ah, man. Bread, meat, and cheese. I could live off that.
I think you do.
I pretty much do. That's basically my entire diet.
All right. Before we go to the waiver wire this week, let's go around the league and look at the latest news.
News team, assemble!
Scotty, Baker Mayfield left the Sunday night game with a non-throwing shoulder injury. The Bucs were down huge at halftime, and those Buccaneers just hoisted their white flag and surrendered.
Yep.
Mayfield tore his labrum in that shoulder back in 2021 and ended up missing 2 games. And we don't know exactly what's going on with his shoulder yet, but it looks like he could miss a game or 2.
I believe I did see it was a sprained AC joint, and they're not going to rule him out for this week yet, but I wouldn't be too optimistic.
All right. Ashton Genty rolled his ankle very late in the game against the Browns, probably a high ankle sprain. His teammate Michael Mayer also left the game with the same injury. I don't know if they ran into each other and both of their ankles exploded at the same time, but it was probably why the Raiders fired offensive coordinator Chip Kelly this morning.
It's actually one of those things where Michael Mayer is actually a human-sized voodoo doll of Ashton Genty. And so when you did
Why
the
would
one,
they do that? If you're going to put a human-sized voodoo doll, don't have him on the same team.
I know, just crazy that they did that.
Alvin Kamara left Sunday's game against the Falcons with a knee injury. They're thinking it's an MCL sprain, which would probably mean he's out until at least week 17 at the absolute soonest. And at that point, why would the Saints bring him back for 2 games at the end of a lost season? So it's highly unlikely that he's going to be back. He's probably done for the year.
Yep, I think the same. Probably done.
And T. Higgins was knocked out of Sunday's game with a concussion. The Bengals play on Thursday night. I think it's very unlikely that T. Higgins is active this week on Thanksgiving night. And finally, J.J. McCarthy is now in the concussion protocol. He experienced symptoms of concussion on the 10-minute flight home from Green Bay.
That is crazy that they even fly there, but I mean, it makes sense. It is very close though. Yeah. So maybe it's Max Brosmer time. I know that JJ isn't ruled out. He's got a clear protocol, but the way he's playing, I wouldn't be shocked if they give him a week and let Max Brosmer take the reins.
What if Max Brosmer is like the next Brock Purdy and he just never gives that ball back?
I mean, it's not super unlikely. Like, it's very possible. It's a non-zero chance.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the waiver wire. And you know what? We're going to start at the quarterback position. We're going to start with Max Brosmer right away. It's a concussion that JJ McCarthy has. And for those of you just listening, there was a lot of air quotes in that concussion. His injury before seemed to drag on a lot longer than people thought it was going to. And many theorized that it was kind of a soft benching for McCarthy to try to get his footwork or progressions right. This could be the same thing. And they're just trying to save face and just go, dude, you led the offense to 4 yards in the second half of that game against Green Bay. One of the worst offensive halves in NFL history. It just might be a soft benching again.
Yeah, I thought the soft benching talk with the ankle injury was a little too tinfoil hat for me, but with this one, I mean, it's possible he does. It's probable he does. I'm guessing have the concussion issues, but now it puts the other one into question for me a little more than I said. There's no way, bull crap. That's not what's happening. But maybe they did just let Carson Wentz go as far as he could until his shoulder just couldn't let him anymore. And they're like, okay, now JJ can play. And you might be absolutely right on this one. It might be the case.
Max Brosmer's matchup against the Seahawks is a tough one to debut in on the road against a really good Seattle secondary. But if Brosmer looks halfway decent in that game against Seattle, I would guess the Vikings just let him roll with it for a little while, at least until the season is completely out of reach for them.
I can see that. I mean, it is a weird discourse this year where even a week or two ago, everyone's like, they're not making the playoffs. Let's see what we have in JJ. Let's let him develop. He needs to get reps. Mm-hmm. And then coming out of this game, they're like, bench him. Even before the concussion stuff, they're like, people out there just, nope, we're done. Just
it's over.
Who cares about giving him reps at this point anymore? No, that was the point. You knew we'd lose games. It was to get him more reps. But yeah, it's Brosmer time for the super flexers out there. I don't see a lot of value in 1 QB leagues, but it's super flex time.
Yikes. It's kind of a who's who of former Viking quarterbacks in the free agency market this week. Teddy Bridgewater, 1% rostered. Baker could be down for a few weeks and people might turn to Teddy, but the problem is schedule is really not great for the next 3 weeks. And it feels like unless we hear something pretty damning about Baker, that he's not going to be out that long. The next 3 weeks are Arizona, New Orleans, and Atlanta. And they don't sound like super hard on paper, but they're all much easier to run against. And Bucky Irving could be back as soon as this week. So I'm a little nervous that Teddy won't do too much, if at all.
Yep. I think you're right on with that. It's I don't know how hard I'm investing in him this week. Yeah.
All
Not
right.
much more to add.
Kirk Cousins is a former Viking quarterback. He's 2% rostered. Was not awful last week, but also not very great. 16 for 23 for 199 yards and 2 touchdowns. Also threw a pick in there. You should be able to start him this week against the Jets. And you should be able to start him in week 15 against the Bucks. But that's it. You're not starting him in the other games. So basically, if you're in a league where you need a quarterback for the next 3 weeks, I mean, if you're thinking about Baker Mayfield, you just lost Baker Mayfield and you need somebody to cover for 2 or 3 weeks, Cousins is probably the guy that you probably want to pick up here because he's got 2 good matchups.
Couple good matchups. Yeah, I think that's fair. And even in his one, I mean, he's always been decently productive. 200 yards and 2 scores. I know he had the pick, but he's always decently productive. It doesn't seem like he has too many games where he kills you in fantasy. Well, maybe he had a few last year, but he's got enough weapons and a good matchups that he can be on your roster for the next couple weeks.
All right. I'm going to just rapid fire through these 4 guys really quickly. Shedeur Sanders was named the starter by the Browns this week, 3% rostered. Had 209 yards passing, but 66 of them came on a Dylan Sampson screen pass that Sampson just broke everything for him. And
it was like 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So he really broke everything.
Well, and it's funny because Sampson finished with 59 receiving yards, but he had 66 for a long.
Jeez.
So we got that going for us. Mason Rudolph, if the Rodgers thing persists, this probably tanks a lot of the Steelers' passing game. Rudolph threw everything short, completed 24 of 31. That's great, but for only 5.5 yards per completion, 171 yards, and it's a bad matchup with Buffalo, so you don't want Mason Rudolph.
Right.
Jameis Winston looked good again, but Jackson Dart might be back this week from the concussion protocol. He was pretty close last week, and they're a Monday night game, so Winston is only really a Dart handcuff at this point.
A Dart handcuff. I love it.
Yeah. And then finally, Jacoby Brissett. We mention him just about every week. He's not rostered everywhere yet, and he probably should be because he threw for another 317 yards this week against the Jags. And then he's at Tampa this week, and that's a fantastic matchup for Brissett.
Yeah, I don't know why Brissett's not on roster. He's probably better than a lot of the quarterbacks starting even in your 12-team league at this point. It's and he's been doing it without Marvin Harrison, who he should. We're 2 weeks now past the appendectomy surgery, so should be, if it's not this week, it should be very soon that he gets an extra weapon in there. Even though he's doing very well with Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch, I will say let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, we're going to get to those guys a little bit later too. Emmanuel Wilson, as we go over to the running back position, he's up to 67% rostered. And Fish, we've been preaching over and over for people to pick up Emmanuel Wilson. We called him the best handcuff in the league last week, and he proved it. Just killed it last week. 28 carries, 107 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, added 2 catches for 18 through the air. And if Jacobs couldn't go on Sunday, I kind of find it hard to believe he's going to be ready for the early Thursday game in Detroit on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah, I was listening to a Packer analyst basically saying the same thing, is that no reason to rush Jacobs back. They still have playoff aspirations, deeper run aspirations, and Emmanuel Wilson did just fine. Might as well get Jacobs healthy. Short week. I think it's another Emmanuel Wilson day, just like you said.
I kind of like him as the cheap DFS play on the Thursday night slates too. Or
yeah,
the Thursday
if they price him right enough for it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Kareem Hunt is 71% rostered. And I only really bring him up here because he carried the ball 30 times last week had 104
It's a
yards and
lot.
a score, added 3 catches for 26 through the air. And Isaiah Pacheco didn't go again. They also play on Thanksgiving in Dallas. So it's kind of the same thing. I don't think Pacheco probably will go. Plus, the Chiefs just signed Damian Pierce to the practice squad.
Oh
So
boy.
that Pacheco injury may be more long-term than we anticipated.
Yep. Might
Hunt
be.
is very, very startable this week. And if he's available in your league, it's a great matchup on paper against Dallas. They have improved against the run quite a bit in the last few weeks, especially since they got Quinn and Williams. But Kareem Hunt's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and he's at that age and point in his career where he's not a young back there, saving carries on. They will keep loading him up. I think he could see some pretty decently high volume, and he can still pass catch, still grabs a couple balls through the air too.
Speaking of pass catchers, we're going to go to Devin Neal, who's 10% rostered. With Alvin Kamara maybe gone for the rest of the season, I think Devin Neal's kind of the last man standing, and he's left as the lead back. He shines in the passing game. He caught 5 of his 7 targets for 43 yards, only had 7 carries for 18 yards on the ground. But the matchups for the Saints are all green. They're bright green matchups the rest of the way.
Yeah.
He's the priority pickup of the week because he could be just a PPR darling, and he's startable basically every game the rest of the season.
Yeah, and we've talked about him before. We've mentioned him before as a possible pick him up, get these backup running backs, especially with the Kamara situation. Now it's a Kamara injury. Devin Neal is a good pass catcher. He's kind of a do it all. Devin Neal can do a lot, basically everything. So pass catching doesn't surprise me that he was able to do that. I like that Tyler Shuck has had no problem putting the ball up 35, 44, like 45 times this last week. Like has no problem throwing it a bunch and throwing it short. And that's what they have. They have Olave, they have Jawan Johnson, and now Devin Neal. They don't have a lot else to throw to, and they'll be in game scripts generally where they're losing, and they'll need those little dump offs to Devin Neal. He might be, when we come down to the end of this, he might be number 1 on this list of all these players.
I think he's the priority pickup this week. And it all makes sense that Tyler Shuck likes to chuck the ball, but he likes to chuck it short. And if you smush those, it's Shuck. You just shuck it.
Short chucker.
Yeah. Raheem Mostert, 4% rostered. Genty could be out for at least a week with an ankle sprain. Mostert probably first choice to replace him in LA against the Chargers this week. Problem is that's not a great matchup. And I would guess that Genty's injury is only a 1 to 2 week thing, and it's Denver next week. So it doesn't look like a great opportunity for Mostert here. The silver lining is they're going to have someone new calling plays as of this coming week, and they may focus a lot more on the run. I'm guessing Chip Kelly was probably released because he wasn't focusing very much on Ashton Genty.
That's absolutely possible. Yes, that's absolutely possible that's part of it. But like so many of these guys, even over the last 2 weeks, these are at best most of them are 1 week hope that they can shine in a 1 week spotlight type guys. You're not breaking the bank unless it's a guy that can have help you in the fantasy playoffs probably. But if you really need someone to help you get there, if you're a bubble team, guys like Mostert makes sense.
Yeah, a lot of band-aids here. At the wide receiver position, Greg Dortch is the guy you could pick up, but I wanted to mention Michael Wilson, who's now 80% rostered. Dortch is only 18. Wilson's up to 33 targets in the last 2 weeks from Brissett, but Marvin Harrison could return this week. We talked a little bit about that. Dortch has had 6 catches in each of the last 2 weeks. He's also scored in both of those games. And the matchup at Tampa this week is a nice spot for whoever the top 2 receivers are. But who are they going to be? Maybe Brissett's just like, yeah, I can roll with 3 wide receivers now.
He's throwing it an absolute ton. I will say that Marvin Harrison, before Michael Wilson's, Marvin Harrison had 22 in the 2 games prior. to the 32 or 33 that Wilson is at in the last two. And those 22 were with Zay Jones there. So, yeah, I think a lot of people who dove in on Michael Wilson, even though it looked a little bit like a 1 week wonder, Harrison would come back. They got some, I don't know what they got some extra usage out of him with Harrison being out a second week. I'm really curious to see what it looks like once Harrison comes back. That's for sure. Because
It doesn't hurt that they were down to their third and fourth string running backs too. So
yeah.
help them focus a little bit more on the pass.
Yeah, I'm happy for all the people that went out and got Michael Wilson, even though, after the fact.
Ooh, I'm going to use my sounder here. You know what that is?
What's that?
This. Do you know what that noise is?
I mean, I recognize that. I can't place it though.
It's Yoshi.
My brain's a little foggy
about
right now.
Andre Yoshavash. We highlighted him on this week or on the show last week too, because Chase was out and then Higgins got concussed. So Higgins will probably be out this week, and Yoshi just a solid number 2 when he's in there. The Ravens on Thursday Night Football is a half decent matchup too, and he could have Joe Burrow back.
Yep, it sounds like Joe Burrow is going to start on Thursday, which is awesome. And he'll have, Chase will be back though, because it was only a 1-game suspension. I do like that his nickname is Yoshi, but his name is Yosi Vosh. He doesn't even have Yoshi in his pronunciation of his name, but that's the nickname he gets. Yeah, if Higgins is out, he's playable again. I mean, Burrow's gonna burrow. This is a guy who has, when healthy, throws for an absolute ton of yards.
Burrow's gonna burrow? Like
Burrow's gonna burrow.
All right. Darnell Mooney is 61% rostered. He had a 49-yard touchdown reception, but he only caught 2 other balls last week besides that. I don't think that they're going to have Cousins throw more than 25 passes in a game. He only threw 23 last week. And if Drake London comes back, that takes targets directly from Darnell Mooney, and there's not many targets to go around anyway. So people might be chasing Darnell Mooney, and I wanted to bring him up. If it's me, I think I let him go to another team if he's available. Sure. But what do you think?
It kind of a sabotage no bid.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works, but a sabotage no bid, just let other people have him. Like, don't fight for him. Let him go somewhere else.
I mean, if
I think that's fair.
Darnell Mooney on your roster, this is the time to trade him, right?
Yeah, well, trade him or sabotage drop him. Why not? Let's do it. No, I like that call. I probably wasn't going to spend any cash on Mooney, so I like that call.
One guy we brought up last week was John Mechie, who's now up to 8% rostered. He's the number 1 wide receiver in New York, likely for the rest of the season or until Garrett Wilson returns, which he may not. 6 catches for 65 yards and a score this week. He scored last week too. And the Jets are going to need to pass for the rest of the season just to stay kind of close. I think Aaron Glenn's trying to win games for New York. So I think John Mechie's an interesting guy to pick up right now.
Yep, absolutely. New York fought right alongside Detroit last week. I wonder if that level of volume and also the YOLO balling of Winston.
We're at the different New York team though. Mechie's on the Jets.
Oh yeah,
you are brain foggy today.
Yeah, I am really this cold, man. I'm just I don't know. He's not even, he wouldn't be wow. My brain went to Wan'Dale Robinson for some reason, I think.
That's okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, no, John Mechie, I mean, yeah, he's better than Adonai Mitchell, and Mason Taylor's been a consistent 20 to 40 yard guy. He's like the only guy that can catch the ball there, apparently. So yeah, I mean, it's worth having on roster. You might have to pick your spots, but I mean, it's looked good 2 weeks in a row.
That's true. Another guy who's looked pretty good the last 3 weeks and the last wide receiver we have here, but maybe my favorite of these is Jaden Higgins, 24%. He's on the Houston Texans. Target totals of 7, 7, and 9 in the last 3 games. He had an 8-target game a week before that span as well. Scored on Thursday night, was out of bounds at the 1-inch line the week before, and scored the week before that. So he's basically kind of scored a touchdown in 3 straight weeks too.
Kind
Even
of
though
almost. Yeah.
even though he didn't score a touchdown in that second one. But he's
It's like Trey McBride last night. He was down at the one like 3 times.
that's so frustrating. But Higgins is starting to pull away from the other receivers in the group as well. It was really close in snap counts before, but last week on Thursday night, Higgins had 58% of the snaps. Hutchinson, Kirk, and Noel all had between 29 and 36.
Okay.
So I think Higgins is starting to emerge as the clear number 2 wide receiver in Houston.
It does. I mean, yeah, it does, and he plays that outside role, unlike Kirk and Noel, who play more inside. So I can see why they'd be splitting a bit more, and Higgins would stay on the outside. Yeah, I'm trying to remember how long Hutchinson is out for. Was that full season?
Did he get hurt in the Thursday night game?
He didn't play Thursday night.
I thought he played a little bit, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the tight end position, though. And a guy I think that you brought up early in the season, and I had not even heard of this guy, but now I have for a few weeks, and it's Gunnar Helm, 2% rostered. You were an early adopter on Gunnar Helm, weren't you?
Yeah. Several weeks ago, I had him as my I gave him a C grade. He didn't do great, but he scored a touchdown, so I feel like it was C worthy.
C
worthy.
Well, he caught 6 of 7 targets last week for 51 yards. And if you look across the league, his 7 targets were 4th most for tight ends across the league overall last week. And the Titans are going to be in a lot of garbage time for the rest of the year. Calvin Ridley is out for the rest of the season. Elic Iomanner is hurt too. I think they're going to be looking at Gunnar Helm a lot for the stretch run here.
I mean, that's what you're right, by the way. Xavier Hutchinson did leave with a shoulder injury, but he did play last week.
Okay.
So I was just gonna, be like, oh, the future, the next few weeks, what does Higgins look like? If Hutchinson's out, it's much more likely for him to get a lot more outside snaps.
Sure.
I'm sorry. Gunnar Helm. They have wanted to push him out there more and more. The coaching staff has talked about that. So yes, absolutely. I would go have him. I'd go get him. What did you say his stats were this last week?
6 catches for 51 yards, and his 7 targets were 4th most amongst tight ends this week.
Yeah, that's really good. That's that's really good for a tight end, but he's still going to split snaps with Chig. But so it's always tough when you have a split tight end backfield or whatever, but splitting between 2 people on one of the league's worst offenses, but you'll be able to pick spots in games where, game script will have them passing more or whatever.
For sure. It definitely is not ideal to use him every week, but like last week, I had him as one of my DFS picks on the Thursday show with Trevor. Nice. And he returned 11 fantasy points for you at like basically minimum price. So that's not a bad thing to have. He's a guy to keep an eye on, especially in DFS. If you got to get really cheap with a roster spot, that's a good guy to have. Yep, Colby Parkinson is 1% rostered. Tyler Higbee went to IR last week, which cleared the runway for Parkinson, who's now scored in 3 straight games. In his last 3 games, he's had 2 outings with 4 catches and 41 yards, and Stafford throws a lot of touchdowns. So Colby Parkinson becoming more interesting.
Yeah, that's very interesting with Higbee. With Higbee being out, it's such a good offense that, really they get to the red zone a lot. They score a decent amount of points. I don't remember the last time they had a game under 3 touchdowns. Really, It feels like every time I watch their games, they're scoring in the 20s. So, Colby, he might be moving up the ranks for, priority pickup. Not ahead of Neal, but that's interesting.
Well, the final guy we'll mention is Brenton Strange, who maybe even might be a little bit better than Colby Parkinson. Strange is 22% rostered and returned from IR last week and was instantly Trevor Lawrence's favorite receiver. He led the team with 5 catches and 93 yards against the Cardinals last week. caught all 5 of his targets, by the way. Brian Thomas is still dinged up and hasn't really been good all year. And then Parker Washington and Jacoby Myers, they're both just kind of okay. Strange could be the lead dog as far as receiver for the Jaguars the rest of the year. And the next 3 weeks, Titans, Colts, and Jets. Those are all 3 pretty positive matchups for the passing game.
I like it. I think it's probably just as enticing as Parkinson. Maybe more. You might be right. It may be more. We got to remember Myers has been on the team 3.5 weeks at this point. So he's still getting acclimated, but he's been nicely involved. I saw he caught a touchdown pass in that game. I know Parker Washington caught one where it was scrambling and then he got open in the back of the end zone as well. But either of those could have been Strange as well. And then we're looking at a 5 for 93 and a score touchdown, because he's on the field so much. So yeah, I do like that a lot too.
Well, I mean, you've been on the tight ends pretty much all year. You've been pretty good. I'll give you even the peacock here. Oh my God, that's so loud. I just really wanted to play the peacock sounder.
I took the opportunity to cough. I think it's the only time that I failed to mute on a cough because of the stupid cold.
Well, the peacock helped you out there.
Yes. Thank you, peacock.
Scott, I hope that you can get a lot of vitamin C in your system and get a lot better before Thanksgiving.
Thanks, man.
It's never fun to be sick on Thanksgiving. That's the worst.
No, because then you go and then, you play that game where you cough at each other's faces and like
what?
It's a joke. We don't play that game anymore.
What kind of traditions does Andrea have over there?
I'm just messing. We're having this is why I like the vibe of our fantasy football almost daily show.
Because we swap germs with each other.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're not in person today, Scott.
Yes.
All right. Anything that you want to mention for Fantasy Cares coming up this week?
Yeah, I mean, we got the same thing we still got going on, fantasycares.org. You can go there, scroll down a bit. We are giving away 25 jerseys in 25 days for the month of December 1st through the 25th. If you donate to that campaign, you get 2 entries per day. If you do win a jersey, your name gets pulled. That entry gets pulled. So you can only win a maximum of 2 signed jerseys, which is still a lot of jerseys. But yeah, we'll be doing a drawing on a live YouTube show every single day for the first 25 days of December.
That's really awesome. And what's the donation that you have to make to get into these drawings?
It's 25 or more.
Okay.
Well, it's $25. $25. It's a $25 donation to a charity, and then you get a chance to win. You get like basically 25 chances or basic 50 chances, I guess, because you have 2 entries per day.
Yeah,
at winning a signed jersey,
and
they're good ones too.
Fantasy Cares, for people who don't know, you guys do a lot with Toys for Tots, and what's the estimate on what you guys are donating / giving to Toys for Tots this year?
Between 100,000 and 150,000. Last year was 120 something. $120,000 worth of toys.
That's insane.
I forget what the toy count was, but yeah, we're a national partner with Toys for Tots. We talk to their head office, and like we have, we work in conjunction with them directly. We go to 20 plus different cities around the country, spending between 1,000 and 20,000 in each of those cities, and the Marines come out and we work with them. It's a heck of a fun time and does a lot of good.
Yeah, I'm so proud to just know you and be slightly a part of helping out with Fantasy Cares with Fishbowl and if you want to round up on League Safe when you make your payments into your leagues, I think League Safe is donating over $30,000 worth of
incredible
funds just for people rounding up their league fees.
Exactly.
Thank you guys for doing that. What an awesome thing.
It's awesome.
Wanted to mention one more time that today's show brought to you by Game Blazers, where Thanksgiving week means a special $40,000 prize pool in free roll contests. If you build your ultimate team with packs in the marketplace, you can win your share of the cash each week. Get started now with referral code FFAD. When you register, you'll get a free starter pack plus a free rare pack. And then if you spend $5, you get 2 more rare packs. They're normally $25 each. That's spend 5, get 50. Download Game Blazers today. Thanks, Scott. I hope you have a fantastic holiday, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks. Have a good one.
All right. See ya.
This was Fantasy Football Almost Daily. Please subscribe and give us a 5-star rating wherever you listen to podcasts.